In the news tonight, General Tumwine, one of the Bush war heroes who waged an armed struggle in the Luwero Triangle, died today and will be buried in Kazo district. President Museveni, military and political leaders mourn fallen General Tumwine.
She gave me assurance that she was submitting those papers to the committee.
Plus, Works Minister Katumba Wamala directs Uganda Airlines CEO Bamuturaki to avail to Parliament all operational documents that are being demanded by COSASE. And in sports, KCCA FC in intensive training ahead of the 2022-2023 Uganda Premier League season. Hello and welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us this Thursday evening. This is PM Edition. I'm Bernadette Pio, also on the program Isaac Lochamuzi. It's a day for the country, one of the heroes of the 1986 Luwero Bush War that brought the current NRM government to power. General Tumwine has died at the age of 68. The Bush War general was pronounced dead at Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, Kenya, where he was airlifted 2 weeks ago after health complications.
The National Resistance Army historical had been away from the public eye ever since he was dropped from the docket of Security Minister in June 2021. Last month, relatives and associates reported that the Bush War general had collapsed at a marriage ceremony of a female journalist. He was admitted to Nakasero Hospital in Kampala. His condition, however, worsened, prompting a referral to Nairobi 2 weeks ago for more specialized medical care. General Tumwine is believed to be the one who shot the first bullet that ignited the 5-year NRA Bush War that toppled the Tito Okello Lutwa government in January 1986. He also worked with President Museveni for such a very long time that he perhaps knew him.
When the war broke out, I did not hesitate. Of course, I would be hearing how the forces they were organizing to fight Amin and how they tried in 72 and how we were following those.
While handing over office to his successor, Major Jim Muhwezi, last year, General Tumwine said he would advise Museveni to prepare for a smooth transition of power for a long-term stability of the country.
And to me now, I think the best advice we can give him is prepare for a smooth transition so that we ensure stability and long-term peace for the long future.
Whereas he is loved by many, the controversial general also came under fire when he publicly urged that security forces were justified to kill civilians during the November 2020 riots. The riots were triggered by the arrest of then presidential candidate Robert Chagulanyi alias Bobi Wine in Luka district, which left more than 50 Ugandans dead.
Police has a right to shoot you and kill you if you reach a certain level of violence.
Tumwine was born on April 12, 1954 in Buruga, Mbarara district. He attended Buruga Primary School, Mbarara High School, and St. Henry College, Chitovu, before joining Makerere University, where he graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Fine Art in 1977. Tumwine acquired military qualifications from the Military Academy in Vystry in the Soviet Union. He joined the military struggle in 1978 under Front of National Salvation, the precursor of NRA. After the 1980 general election, Tumwine joined Museveni, who had lost in the presidential elections, joined a Bush war against Milton Obote's government. General Tumwine was also the longest-serving Army representative in Parliament from 1996 to 2021. He served in several capacities in the NRM government, with his last assignment being Security Minister from 2018 to 2021, and at the time of his death, he was a senior presidential advisor. Kevin Kasoma, CTV PM Edition.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Now, after ex-Security Minister General Eli Tumwine was pronounced dead today morning, various Ugandans, including politicians, government officials and institutions, took to social media to pay tribute to one of the founders of the National Resistance Army. Here are some of the tweets that came in. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, using at Kaguta Museveni, said, "Countrymen and countrywomen, especially the NRM, NRA, UPDF fraternity, with deep sorrow, I announce the death of General Eli Tumwine, which occurred at 5:46 a.m. this morning in Nairobi from lung cancer." Vice President Jessica Lupo, using her handle, wrote, "I have received the news of the death of General Eli Tumwine. I extend my condolences to his family, His Excellency the President, the UPDF fraternity, and all the people of Uganda. General Tumwine was a patriot who paid the price of liberation with honor, courage, and dignity. May his soul rest in eternal peace." The Uganda People's Defense Force said, "We will always remember his patriotic contribution to the revolution. May his soul rest in eternal peace." General Edward Katumba Wamala said, "I have received the sad news of the passing of RO 0023 General Eli Tumwine. I send my sincere condolences to His Excellency Kaguta Museveni, the family of General Tumwine, the UPDF, NRA fraternity, and all those whose lives he touched. Rest in peace, soldier." Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of land forces, "Rest in peace, General Tumwine. Immortality means he is without a father, without a mother, without a genealogy. He has neither beginning or days, nor end of life. He remains a priest forever. May Almighty God receive you into his everlasting arms, Afande Tumwine." Janet Kaguta Museveni said, "My deepest and sincerest condolences go out to the dear family of General Eli Tumwine. It is with great sorrow that we hear of his passing. John 16:22, so with you, now is your time of grief, but I will see you again and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy." The leader of the opposition National Unity Platform, Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, also known as Bobby Wine, quoted Genesis 3:19 and wrote, "For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." #RIP Eli Tumwine. And Speaker Anita Among said that it is with a great sadness that I received the news of the passing on of our elder liberation hero, long-serving legislator and former Security Minister, General Eli Tumwine. My sympathies go to His Excellency at Kaguta Museveni, his family, the UPDF family, and fellow citizens. May his soul rest in eternal peace. As members of Parliament paid tribute to General Eli Tumwine, who died today, Deputy Speaker of Parliament Thomas Tayebwa has given government up to 3 months to come up with clear guidelines on which Ugandans are supposed to be accorded a state funeral or not. The directive followed a complaint by a Kira Municipality Member of Parliament, Uganda, that some government officials are accorded state burial with no clear guidelines.
In a sitting that was chaired by the Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayebwa, MPs paid tribute to the fallen former Security Minister General Eli Tumwine. A moment of silence preceded today's sitting. Tayebwa told Parliament that General Tumwine was declared dead at Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, Kenya, in the early hours of the morning.
We've lost one of our gallant sons, a person who has left an indelible mark on the stability of this country, and the historical who ushered in the revolution, who started together with our president and 27 other colleagues revolution that would end up liberating our beloved country.
Security Minister General Jim Muhwezi said they are yet to come up with the burial arrangement. He said the body still lies in Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi.
Arrangements to repatriate his remains back to the country are underway. And as you said, Right Honorable Speaker, we shall be coming up with a program about the arrangements to lay him to rest.
However, there are concerns on who is accorded the state funeral. Kirwa Municipality MP Semuju Uganda says notable government officials have died and none has been accorded a burial, yet selected individuals have been accorded the state burial.
But I urge the lead of government business to liaise with the lead of opposition so that a motion is prepared paying long tribute to our departed colleague.
The government was supposed to come up either with a policy or with a law to know who, for example, is brought to parliament, who benefits from official or state burial. There was 10 years when we had a problem. A former colleague from Eastern Uganda died and he was not brought. And our colleagues from that area were very upset in the last parliament.
Government Chief Whip coordinate with the Prime Minister. I know this cannot be that quick because it has wide consultations involved. In 3 months' time, you give guidelines to this House, and you put the guidelines here so that we know and it doesn't just depend.
Several MPs eulogized General Eri Tumwine.
And he was so passionate about retaining the peace that the country is enjoying. And the purpose is because of what he went through, what he experienced by the time he shot the first bullet.
For me, General Tumwine, we trained together in Munduli. We were cadets together. I worked with him when he was the army commander. I worked with him. I was his aide-de-camp. I know his commitment to work. I know his commitment to the nation. He has been a dedicated servant, a very, very dedicated servant.
Tumwine is said to have died of lung cancer. Ramson Mhire, CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Ramson, for that report. The Army has described ex-Security Minister General Eri Tumwine, who died in Nairobi, Kenya today morning, as a dedicated member of the force. Army spokesperson Felix Kulaije says burial arrangements will be communicated in due course.
Adui akija, sisi tuko tayari.
In the morning, news about the death of former Security Minister General Eri Tumwine started circulating, especially on social media platforms. Later, President Kaguta Museveni and the Commander-in-Chief of the Army announced his death in a statement. During a media brief at Imbuya Ministry of Defense and Military Headquarters, Army spokesperson Brigadier Felix Kulaije described General Tumwine as a dedicated officer.
We always remember him for his patriotic, unwavering dedication to his country and his contribution to the revolution.
According to General Kulaije, burial arrangements are not yet out.
Burial arrangements will be communicated to the country as soon as they are ready, once we complete consultations with the family. But he's going to get full honors of a general. Normally, we fire artillery for a general. The numbers will depend now on several other factors.
Brigadier Kulaije paid personal tribute to General Tumwine.
And personally, as a man who was astute about his family, a man who was always doing research, especially on nutrition, I can tell you personally, I used not to take yogurt. It's General Tumwine who encouraged me to start on it. That's how personal we became.
He says General Tumwine was a dedicated man who loved his work, the military, and Uganda's beauty.
He's a man who always talked about being forthright in our work, commitment to UPDF. If you noticed, many of the times he was in combat with a belt. It's somebody who showed his love for the career he had chosen.
General Eli Tumwine was scheduled to retire from the army on August 31st. He will be buried in Kazo district, according to the army. Flavian Inkuze for CTV, PM Edition.
And we are ready to go. And even if I died now, what has God not done to me?
Relatedly, General Eli Tumwine has been described as a hero and as one of the NRA fighters who picked arms to depose past governments whose human rights and democratic credentials were absurd. However, during campaigns ahead of the 2021 general elections, General Tumwine was condemned after his comments on the deadly Kampala riots. Let's take you back and revisit some of those moments.
The arrest of one person cannot justify what has caused death, what has caused injury, what has caused disruption, what has caused confusion, and stopping the people to enjoy their peace they were enjoying. I will continue to give him my genuine support and advice. And to me now, I think the best advice we can give him is prepare for a smooth transition so that we ensure stability and long-term peace for the long future.
And I'm preaching to UPDF first, while others, that UPDF just remain on our values, maintain our foundation, build on it. It's a very good foundation, well built stage by stage, process by process, death by death, blood by blood, work by work, to bring it where we are. There are some criminals in Kiriandongo. The commission will handle, you leave it.
Wanyakore have a proverb that the one who does not take advice brews some bad beer. But we should save the president that problem. Or we should save him. There is a disease diagnosed by political scientists and psychologists that's called hubris syndrome. It's our duty to help him not to have that problem, because it is the advice that we give him that will help him to do his work with everybody else and better than he would otherwise done if he was alone.
One of the best examples of the people who have retired is General Museveni, our president. Did he retire? He has never tired. He may have worked even much more after retirement. So we are not going anywhere. Only we are being recognized that thank you for having served.
Why do you do it during the night? Why not during the day? Don't abuse our forces. Have you heard? Don't abuse our forces. You and the police. Don't abuse our forces. We all have wrangles, we all have disagreements. We don't use the force like this. Why do it at night if it is okay?
And they started at 3 a.m. in the morning.
They've arrested our security
guards. We have worked so hard to preserve the image of our forces.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family during this trying time. PM Edition takes a short break and returns with more. Don't go away. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching a PM edition. In other top stories of the day, General Katumba Wamala, the Minister of Works and Transport, has ordered the embattled CEO of Uganda Airlines, Jennifer Bamuturaki, to avail all her academic and professional documents, as well as other work-related documents that have been required of her by the Kosase Committee of Parliament. Katumba was appearing before the committee that is scrutinizing the 2020-2021 Auditor General's report.
General Katumba Wamala told Kosasi members that he could not disobey President Museveni's orders to appoint Bamuturachi as the CEO of Uganda Airlines. Katumba's confirmation came after a prior testimony by members of the Uganda Airlines board to Kosasi members that the appointment of Bamuturachi followed orders from the minister. The Auditor General's report of 2020-2021 highlighted the illegal recruitment of Uganda Airlines staff members as one of the reasons why the company is making billions of losses. The committee summoned General Katumba Wamala to explain why Bamuturachi is ignoring all their orders to appear before them.
We think it's important that you call your troops to order, because if we can ask you to come and you show up on time, you're the minister. I got a letter from the Ministry of Finance asking for a rescheduling. It didn't come in very good time, but at least it hasn't come this morning. So if the ministers can do this, I don't know what is wrong with your staff.
General Katumba said that his professional background has made him respect orders from his superiors.
If the president has authority to appoint a governor Bank of Uganda, to appoint a chief justice, to appoint a CDF, to appoint an IGP, to appoint a Commissioner General of Prisons, what authority would I challenge his appointment of a mere CEO of an enterprise when he's exercising his powers? Me, if the president, who is the commander-in-chief and who is now the executive, if he gives a directive, this time it's even in writing, then I have to implement the directive.
He apologized for Bamuturachi's disrespect to the Committee of Parliament. General Katumba Wamala said he has instituted a committee to analyze the salary structure and academic qualifications of all workers of Uganda Airlines.
Somebody that's being seen as very competent, what's wrong with subjecting them to an interview with all the other 40? If she is really good, as it is said, she will beat them all, she will win, and then she gets to be appointed.
If you got a directive from the president and you have technical officers in your ministry, and in trying to implement that directive you find it lacking legally, is it disrespectful of you to get back to the president and say, Your Excellency, sir, the directive you gave me, I am finding challenges implementing it?
He asked Ugandans not to tarnish the image of the Uganda Airlines because the national carrier is a treasure.
Ugandans, that let's try to be proud of what we have. Let's try to not to downplay our own institutions. Let's not try to kill the institutions which we have.
The MPs asked General Katumba to ensure that operations at Uganda Airlines are handled by professional staff members for it to become competitive. Sarah Nakandi for CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Sarah, for that report. Now, civil society activists have asked government to consider skilling the youth if they are to benefit from the parish development model. The activists say the youth are still grappling with problems like early pregnancies and abject poverty. They were speaking ahead of the International Youth Day that will be marked tomorrow.
As we celebrate the International Youth Day for 2022, under the theme Intergenerational Solidarity, the role of the youth in the implementation of parish development model, we call upon government, first of all, to invest more in livelihood promotion and skilling of child mothers so that they acquire skills to start up enterprises and income-generating activities.
demand and call that government design and implement inclusive cross-sectoral policies in education, health, agriculture, social development, water, and environment. Adopting these cross-sectional policies is also in line with the ongoing NDP3 and will meaningfully promote inclusive implementation on parish development model by the youth.
Therefore, call upon the government of Uganda to prioritize ending child marriage and teenage pregnancy within the 2030 agenda to achieve meaningful participation of young people in implementation of the parish development model and other long-term change desired. We will not end teenage pregnancy by 2030 unless action is scaled up. We thank you.
You're still watching PM Edition. In news from the region, fresh fighting has erupted between government forces and Tigrayan rebels in northern Ethiopia after a 5-month truce, while early results in Angola put incumbent president in the lead. The renewed warfare follows both sides repeatedly blaming the other for lack of progress towards negotiations to end the brutal 20-month conflict in Africa's second most populous nation. The Tigray People's Liberation Front said government forces and their allies had launched an offensive towards southern Tigray early Wednesday after a months-long lull in fighting. But the government communication service accused the TPLF of striking first, saying it had destroyed the truce. The rival claims could not be independently verified as access to northern Ethiopia is restricted, but there were reports of fighting around southern Tigray in areas bordering the Amhara and Afar regions. Reports indicate that incumbent President João Lourenço was in the driver's seat to retain power. Angolans went to the polls on Wednesday, and provincial results published by the National Electoral Commission showed that the ruling party, MPLA, had 60.65% of votes so far. The National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, the country's main opposition party, was second with 33.85% of the votes. The electoral body had counted 33.6% of the votes. According to the provincial results, the Social Renewal Party had 1.4% of the votes, the National Front for the Liberation of Angola 1.28%, and the Humanist Party of Angola had 1.0%. Other political formations are Broad Convergence for the Salvation of Angola, Electoral Coalition with 0.70%, the National Patriotic Alliance with 0.51%, and the Nationalist Party for Justice with 0.48%. Legally, the Electoral Commission has 15 days after the polls to release the final results. UNITA has, however, dismissed the provincial results announced by the Electoral Commission. On the international scene, a Russian rocket strike on a railway station has killed 25 people, Ukraine says, on the day marking 6 months since Moscow's invasion began. And in the U.S., more than 40 million Americans could see their student loan debt reduced. More in this report. Five of the victims of the attack in the eastern town of Chaplin burnt to death in a vehicle, officials say. 2 boys aged 6 and 11 were also killed. President Volodymyr Zelensky reported the strike during a UN Security Council meeting. A further 31 people were hurt. Russia said it hit a military train, killing hundreds of Ukrainian troops. Ukraine has made no mention of military deaths in the strike. Moscow has repeatedly denied targeting civilian infrastructure. Speaking today, UN Human Rights Commissioner Michelle Bachelet called on Russia's president to halt armed attacks on Ukraine. Zelensky said he had learned of the strike on the Chaplin as he was preparing to speak to the Security Council. In April, a strike on another train station killed more than 50 people. Ukraine spent Wednesday marking its annual Independence Day. Zelensky had previously said Russia might do something to disrupt the elections. Biden's Wednesday announcement is a historic but politically divisive move in the run-up to the midterm elections. Fulfilling a campaign promise, Biden is erasing $10,000 in a federal student loan debt for those with incomes below $125,000 a year or households that earn less than $250,000. He's canceling an additional $10,000 for those who received federal Pell Grants to attend college. Republicans quickly denounced the plans as an insult to Americans who have repaid their debt and to those who didn't attend college. Critics across the political spectrum also questioned whether Biden has authority for the move, and legal challenges are virtually certain. The cancellation applies to federal student loans used to attend undergraduate and graduate school, along with Parent Plus loans. Current college students qualify if their loans were issued before July 1st. For dependent students, their parents' household income must be below $250,000. Biden's plan makes 43 million borrowers eligible for some debt forgiveness, with 20 million who could get their debt erased entirely, according to the administration. PM Edition takes another short break. Stay with us. Sports is up next. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. In PM Sports tonight, KCCA FC have started their pre-season preparations and training ahead of the new Uganda Premier League season. The team thumped Kampala-based local suburb team Katanga FC 5-0 in a pre-season build-up game. Let's get the details.
With the 2022-2023 Uganda Premier League season about to start, various teams have started pre-season training and preparations ahead of the competition. KCCA FC, which are sponsored by CTV, started pre-season training 5 weeks ago with intensive training. Over 20 players are attending the training and preparations at the Philip Omondi Stadium at Lugogo. Head coach Mone Byekwaso is in charge.
To see that we perform better than last season. We've been doing the physical part and conditioning, but now we've started the playing style of it. We want to see how we shall play, how we shall position, how we shall overcome the hurdles or the hardest thing on the pitch. We are trying to see which system formation we shall use to see that we overcome the challenges in the upcoming season. We really know that we did not perform to our expectations. season, and things are not going to be easy this season too. So we need to do a lot of research in the formation we are going to apply on the pitch. We have a lot of strikers in the team. We have to look for a system which will fit them in.
The former champions beat Katanga FC, a local Kampala suburb team, in a pre-season build-up game 5-0, with goals coming from defender Dennis Iguma, Faisal Wabiona, Brana Hebwa, and a brace from new signing Muhammad Senoga, aka Kagawa. Team captain Benjamin Ochan explains how they are prepared and getting along with the pre-season.
We're grinding in the pre-season. Of course, it's not easy, a lot of hard work, but the good thing is the players are positive and we're up to it. They are basing on last season. There are a lot of lessons learned, and I believe as a captain, I learned, I believe from last season, I need to put in more effort to push the team and so that we achieve our target this season. So we're still mastering our style of play. We brought in new players who fit in the system of play that we want to play, and we put in a few stitches here and there to make sure we have a good squad coming to start of the season.
KCCFC, nicknamed the Kasasiro Boys, was founded in 1963, winning the Uganda Premier League titles 13 times, and last won the title in the 2018-2019 season, and looking forward to competing in this year's championship.
At the MTN Philip Omondi Stadium, we really tested the young goalkeeper. Ball whipped in! And it's the stat KCC was looking for. The boss character strikes fast. And as is the norm in big games, Dennis Iguma shot.
Ahead of the new 2022-2023 Uganda Premier League season, former champions KCCA, Kasasiro Boys, are intensive training and preparation. Today's build-up game is among the many for the former champions to fine-tune for the new season. Reporting for CTV, Saika Singh, Sekalala.
Brings us to the end of our broadcast. To get more on these and other stories, head on to our website at ctv.co.ug. You can also reach us on all our social media platforms, that is CTV Uganda. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.